I put Sleeping Beauty here because I originally put Snow White, and then I was like, no, wait, Sleeping Beauty is the Seven Dwarfs. But that's not right, is it?
No.
Welcome to So We're Watching That Right, a podcast where two lesbians bully each other for having the same taste in anime. I'm Becky, scientifically certified best girl.
And I'm Val, everyone's favorite harem protagonist.
This season is coming to a mercifully but tantalisingly climax-free climax. This means that tomorrow, as of this episode recording, we'll be doing a live stream about noon Pacific, 8 PM UK time, to give some almost concluding thoughts on the season. It's not quite over yet. But we will also be picking our shows for the next season. It will be the So We're Watching That Right stream for the winter season.
Fall.
Fine.
Two corrections. You said episode recording instead of releasing. Because it's not going to be fucking tomorrow our time, it's tomorrow your time, listeners. And it's fall at the end of the year. Winter starts the year.
I just started the winter term, sorry.
Yeah, no, I know. There are reasons, but that's the way it works here.
Anyway, we hope to see you there.
Yep.
Tomorrow. As you are listening to this right now, it's tomorrow. If you're listening to this on release day, otherwise it might be today, or it might have already happened, in which case it will be archived.
Yep.
Also, we'll be putting some things to a vote for our Patreons, patreon.com/slimebugproductions. Chuck us a few bob and get a say in how much shenanigans we inflict on ourselves next season.
Yeah, $5 a month will get you access to polls on both the shows we're less sure about and also the light novel coverage for my work every month.
Mm-hmm.
The first one of those proper will be coming out next week as you listen to this.
Also, yeah, so once we get to $50 a month, Val is going to do her Isekai tier list update. We get $100 a month. We will start the JoJo's watch through.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things that you can unlock.
Yes, despite the fact that Patreon has removed goals as a function of the website, I'm still using them. God damn you. Anyway,
let's begin by talking about some shows that finished this week, which there are a fair number.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bad Girl, episode 12, opens with the horrifying news that Atori is going to spend the next year studying abroad in Chicago. Which unleashes hell.
Yeah.
Because of course it does, because you can't imagine living without Atori for a year. There's a moment where, Yu is talking to Suzu about this and about how sad she feels about it. And Suzu has a line where she says something like, yeah, it'll be lonely without her. And I couldn't tell whether this was a Freudian slip of Suzu admitting that she does like having Atori around, or it was just that's the thing you say when a friend is telling you about how they're going to miss someone. Because she does then realise, wait, this means Atori will be out of the way and I can have you to myself again.
Yeah. The thing is, I think it was equally, she's the reason we've been getting up to so much shenaniganery this entire time. And I have fun with that, doing things with you.
Yeah.
But also, fuck her, get out of the way. Stop chasing me.
Anyway, you did say that if Suzu was going abroad, she'd go with her and live with her, which was cute. But anyway, this next chunk of the episode is you trying... Basically, I mean, it's not new schemes, it's callbacks to old schemes to get Atori to stay. Mostly involving selling her organs, which Atori doesn't need or have a use for.
Yup.
But when Yu is actually talking to Atori to deal with this, she says a bunch of stuff to Atori, and Suzu is watching from a nearby staircase, and Suzu interrupts Yu's internal monologue, which is the most lesbian thing in this show.
Extremely.
And so good.
Yeah, and then Suzu just hears you having a moment after that. It's just okay.
Uh-huh. And then it turns out that Atori is not going to Chicago, the city in Illinois, US. She's going to a place in Japan called Chicago Weir, which is a famous landmark with a site of Mount Fuji, for a couple of days to take some photographs. So it's all fine anyway.
Yep.
Then there was a bit that I really didn't understand. I think I missed one key line of dialogue early on. That you decided to play a game that was about identifying the king of evil.
Yeah. She was just well, I'm trying to be bad, I need to identify the most bad thing. So let's go poll the characters that have shown up about what they think the most evil thing is.
Yeah, and she declares that the most evil thing is sausage, which is blasphemy. She somehow gets Suzu to agree to this, and then they go round the other characters, getting them to say what they think is the most evil, and like, Ruha thinks it's the world for not giving her enough attention and thinking she's cute enough, because the world obviously thinks Atari is the cutest. And Ki thinks that the most evil thing is beauty.
Yep.
And at the end of the episode, they run into Atari, and Atari is demonstrating admittedly spurious associations with all of the things that have been listed. So, kind of like an LLM, they get to the right answer, but for completely the wrong reasons.
Yep, exactly. It's just like, this was a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And then post-credits, there's a flashback to Yu and Suzu hanging out in middle school. And they are basically scissoring.
They're wrestling with their legs.
I mean, yeah, so it exists in the exact intersection of lesbian erotica and Joshi wrestling, which is a good place to be. But it ends with Yu, like, laying her head in Suzu's lap and declaring Suzu to be all hers, which appears to be the foundation of, like, Suzu's love for her. It's good. It's cute. Mm-hmm. It's very silly, like everything else in this show. What a good time. What a daft time. That's exactly what we wanted it to be, and there it is.
Yeah, I've also read a different manga from the mangaka who did the original Bad Girl, and some things happen in that, and it's just like, okay, this mangaka is on something.
Good.
Yeah.
Speaking of this mangaka is on something. In the final episode of Dealing with Mikadono Sisters is a Breeze, we start out with Sakura's backstory, which is about her relationship with Shogi and her being a klutz and not popular and everybody kind of hating her. And she discovers Shogi, and her grandpa is teaching her Shogi, and he teaches her that pawns always move forward. And so she comes to kind of identify with being a pawn, in the sense that it doesn't matter how much she's disliked or how much of a klutz she is, she's going to keep moving forward at this one thing and hopefully become a queen one day, which is very sweet. Mm-hmm. And then Miwa beats her in the match because she's got her mojo back. And after the match, she's being swarmed by journalists and photographers and stuff, and she sees Yu in the background and barges through the crowd to get to him, and like they're talking and he's saying how proud he is of her, and she's being very moved by this, and she kisses him on the forehead in front of everybody.
The everybody that matters is the other sisters, for the record.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there are other people around. And then, this is such an anime movie. An English-speaking foreign couple approach with no introduction or prior establishment, and they congratulate her, and it reveals that Miwa spent some time studying abroad and was hosted by this couple. And so Miwa plays the they kiss each other all the time overseas excuse for why she's kissing you on the forehead.
Yeah, this is just a greeting.
Yes. And then, bless her, she makes good on it by kissing Kazuki and Nico on the cheek as well.
Yeah, which is adorable.
It's adorable, and they have normal feelings about it, and everybody in this anime has normal feelings about everything, and it's great. We had both kind of forgotten that Miwa was the younger sister.
Yeah, this didn't actually land, I think, until I was binging the manga afterwards. And we both hit a panel that was just like, oh, look at that, she's the youngest. I'm like, right, she is the youngest. Oh, why did I think
we got confused because Nico's so short.
Yes.
Because they had to make Nico shorter than you.
Yeah, genuinely, I just got mixed up because of the heights, and you went along with it.
Yeah. Anyway, it goes to the credits on this like happy family moment, and then after the credits, there's a quick scene of you getting home to the house, and the sisters are all kind of waiting for him, and he steps inside, and Sakura has come with him because he has invited Sakura to stay so that she can learn more about Shogi from Miwa.
Yeah,
which
there is, there's more lead up to this in the manga, but they skipped that scene entirely in the anime for time, which is fine because I don't know that they're going to get a second season where this is going to matter.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, so the show ends at like chapter 45. I believe I've read up to chapter 120 at this point.
Wow.
And Manga's good, y'all. Shame the official localization is AI translated.
Oh,
Gross.
That's rough.
And the AI translated shit got all the unofficial localizations DMCA'd on the most forward-facing manga websites. So, I cannot condone piracy, but I'm not gonna,
We are legally obliged to not, while on recording, encourage you to go and steal this from somewhere else. But...
The manga is good, y'all.
Let's talk about My Dress Up Darling, episode 12, which is also the final episode, which opens with Marin practicing confessing to Gojo with her plush bunny rabbit that he bought her, and then he shows up to do her makeup because it's the day of the coffin cosplay. And so they're sitting, they're kneeling opposite one another as they normally do for him to do her makeup, and she's looking down because she can't look at him because she's too in love. So he takes her chin and tilts her head up. And that is too much for her now, which is a great start to the day.
Yeah, it's really, really, really good. She makes the cutest squeak.
Yes.
I can't wait to hear Amelie make that squeak in English.
Yes, that will probably be pretty good. Anyway, they go to the cosplay, and they're all in their nun outfits, and they're doing, the shots from early in the game. And then it gets to the point where they do, the climactic scene, which is this cannibalism dinner. And so Juju is not good with horror, and it turns out she has not finished the game. She got too scared, so she doesn't know what's coming, and she's squeamish. And there is a moment where Gojo finishes dressing the set by literally throwing a bucket of fake blood over the table and across the faces and outfits of all the cosplaying girls, which Juju barely holds it together, and they do get the photos they need, but Juju is wigged out, and it is Gojo who goes to check on her, and there's a very sweet scene of Gojo being Gojo, really supportive and caring and thoughtful. Various other shenanigans happen during that, like Himeno doesn't go to the changing room where the girls are changing and starts changing in the studio room in front of some of the other girls who've already gotten changed or are not getting changed, because it's just not the sort of thing he thinks about.
Bless him.
And then at the end of the shoot, Juju's sister, whose name I've forgotten again, realizes that she doesn't have any photos of Marin and Akira together, because there's been this whole thing about Akira not liking and avoiding Marin. She notices this, and then she's like, well, we've got to get some photos of the two of you. Stay there, I'll grab my camera. And the truth comes out.
Very loudly.
Very, very loudly. Which is not that Akira hates Marin. It's that Marin is Akira's Oshi, and Akira is an even bigger gross disaster fangirl of Marin than Marin is of her Oshi.
Yep.
And is just gibbering about this. And this scene, to be clear, happens in the street outside the studio while both of them are still dressed as blood-spattered nuns. And they are yelling and squeaking and making all sorts of noises.
Yep, it is peak.
It's peak. It's so good. And then Marin and Gojo are going home. Marin has sworn that she's going to ask Gojo out, or that she's going to confess to Gojo after this cosplay. She's struggling to work up the courage all the way home. They get to the balcony outside her flat. He's saying goodbye. She grabs his sleeve. He turns round. She starts trying to ask him something. And what she asks him is, will you take a selfie with me?
And that's where season 2 ends.
That's the end. There's nothing more. And there's so far there's 3 more volumes of the manga in English, I think.
Yeah, all of the chapters are officially translated, but they're doing the thing where they do that digital publishing of the chapters and then they collate them into volumes, so it's taking a bit.
Okay, so does that mean I can read the whole remainder of the manga somewhere digitally?
I literally have access to the entire manga on my computer, yes.
Okay, I will do that. And then probably immediately buy the manga because I think I want to own this series.
Yeah. This made it through about 2/3 of it, so I expect we're going to get a 3rd season at some point.
I hope so.
They didn't announce it at the end. Speaking of things that I need to read ahead on now.
Yeah.
Oh!
There's no freaking way I'll be your lover unless episode 12, which is the season finale.
We have both been a little bubbly about this for an hour now.
Yeah, we finished watching this about an hour ago, and if we seem a little bit extra kind of giddy, it's the effect of how this ended. But it starts out with all the sad stuff. So, like, they reunite Ajisai with her family, which she is very stressed about because she did run away from home for 3 days, abandoning her brothers. Mm-hmm. But they're just glad to have her back. And she actually, it's very clear that being away from them for a few days has made her really glad to go back to them as well.
Yeah.
She's needed the break. And then Rena goes home, and her sister corners her, demands to know where her souvenir is. Reneko didn't have the money to buy one. And then points out that Reneko should probably apologise to their mother, which Reneko is too nervous to do. And she asks her sister for help, and her sister goes, well, no, I'm not going to do that because you didn't get me a souvenir, you bitch. She does help her.
Yeah.
Ajisai comes to visit Reneko very briefly to give an apology gift to her mum for abducting her daughter. And
as you do.
I mean, I'm going to abduct you at some point.
I'm aware. Don't apologize to my mom, though.
It depends whether I think that is a tactically advantageous move to keep her from calling the police.
I'll leave a note, it's fine.
Anyway, Ajisai then immediately skedaddles, because Ajisai is in self-martyrdom mode of getting out of the way of Mai and Rena's relationship. But Rena insists on walking her back to the station. They get to the station. Reneko tells her, look, I want you to reach out to me when you're struggling like this again. At which point, Ajisai bursts into tears because she feels that she can't do that because that would be treading on her friend's toes. So Reneko can realise that something is up with Ajisai, and she does something that is proved far wiser than she had any reason to believe it would be, which is that she phones Mai and says, hey, do you know what's up with Ajisai? And Mai says, I do, I'm not telling you. It's something she's got to figure out for herself.
I won't tell you even if you go through the list of things that I want to do with you and pick any one of them.
Yeah.
Like, normally I would be over the fucking moon, but this is not that time.
Yes. We get to see Ajisai hanging out with some of her middle school friends.
Mm-hmm.
A nice touch here is that clearly in middle school, Ajisai was kind of the Mai.
Yeah. Definitely.
Not necessarily in terms of being a chaos monster, but in terms of being the beautiful girl who everyone in school is in love with.
Yeah, like she moved from a place where she was the prettiest girl in the pond to, a bigger pool.
I'm sorry, the prettiest girl in the pond is just making me think about pushing all these girls into a pond together.
Mai deserves it.
Mai deserves it.
And she'd love to be the biggest deal in the area, but like, she was a big fish in a small pond, and now she's in a bigger pond, and Mai is here,
yes,
taking up all the air,
yes,
and food and everything. Which
honestly I think Ajisai is fine with, apart from the Reneko stuff.
Yeah, barring the Reneko stuff, I think it has been good for her, probably.
Yeah.
Apart from her hang-ups on, like, making sure other people are happy first.
Yes, which is the big thing. And, like, Ajisai's middle school friends figure out that she's got a crush on someone who is spoken for, and they're teasing her about it. And they walk out of the, like, restaurant where they're hanging out face to face with an Otsukamai modeling photo shoot. And her friends all recognize Mai and are like, wow, she's even more impressive in the flesh and whatever. And Ajisai just walks up to Mai and says, I'm in love with Reneko too, which is true and is the thing that Mai was waiting for. Mm-hmm. And so Mai takes Ajisai on an aquarium date because lesbians are gonna lesbian.
Yep, we had to fit one in here somehow.
And so they talk about a bunch of stuff, and Mai tells Ajisai, basically, don't hold back for my sake. Give it your best shot, because I'm confident I will win in the end. She also tells Ajisai a girl should be in love, which I think that's really sweet in context. Mm-hmm. Being like, hey, you should stop denying yourself this and feeling bad about it. And then Ajisai calls Reneko and asks her to meet, and asks Mai to kind of support her, and Mai is literally standing next to Ajisai when Reneko shows up.
And just, like, doing a sassy pose when Reneko looks over at her.
Yeah, it's like, this is a weird scene.
Vibe is...
My situationship is standing there with my crush who is confessing to me.
Yeah, it's really funny because Reneko is, like, running to get to this park, and she sees Mai there and immediately slows down. It's just like... Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's actually a really, really well structured scene. And Ajisai has this beautiful speech about how she's always put the happiness of others first. And she outright confesses to Reneko, which is great. Love it. And there's a long shot of Reneko just kind of stunned. And I did wonder if that was where the episode was going to end.
It would have been on par for this show if it did.
I would have hunted down Eve and destroyed her. But no, what happens is Reneko, like, she has this freeze up and then she goes, okay.
Yeah, specifically, Ajisai goes, I love you, please go out with me. And Reneko's just like, sure?
And
then Mai goes, huh?
It's not even that dramatic of a huh. It's this little.
That's me being giddy. Like, the fact that this hit, both of us were yelling for like 3 or 4 minutes after this about this fucking scene.
So good.
It's so good.
She's just like this tiny little noise of surprised disappointment that is Otsuka Mai not getting what she wants for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Particularly with her having told Ajisai earlier, I'm confident I'll win in the end. It's like, girl, you can't even score the first points. And then there's a very brief scene of Ajisai running into one of her middle school friends.
Again.
Sometime later and saying, hey, I confessed my feelings. And she refers to Reneko as my little angel. And yes!
Yeah.
Speaking of, like, yes! April Showers Bring May Flowers, episode 12. We get to see what these two are like in love. And what they are like in love is fucking disasters.
Yeah.
So Ueno is at work and he's spacing out a lot. And his colleague who knew Tabata in middle school asks him to take a message to Tabata, which is presumably just like, hey, how are you doing? We've got a class reunion coming up, something like that. And Ueno point blank refuses and then runs off with no explanation.
Yeah, this is like the first time Ueno has said no about doing something like this ever.
Yeah.
And his coworker's just like, what the fuck? Because that's a reasonable response.
Yeah. And then he's like, Shinbashi wants to speak to Tabata about Ugusudani, because he's noticed that Ugusudani's mood is all over the place because she's heartbroken. So Shinbashi and Tabata go to Starbucks together, and Ueno stalks them and is like sitting across the Starbucks, brooding and feeling miserable, and has a whole inner like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Tabata was Snow White and Shinbashi was the prince, and Ueno's like inner council of voices in his head were Ueno as the Seven Dwarves. And Sayaka finds Ueno in this coffee shop and is comforting him, tells him, and this is another one, I like this line, tells him love isn't about being scared, it's about enjoying it, which is really good advice. And Tabata sees Sayaka comforting Ueno and is upset about that. So there's all these misunderstandings going on. Meanwhile, Tetsuo continues to work at like, supporting Ugusudani in a way that doesn't seem like romantic or like he's trying to make a romantic move on her in any way. It just seems like he's decided this girl needs help.
Yeah, I think it's which for me, I emotionally read that as a midpoint between like he is just that sort of person, and also he might have like something close to romantic feelings for her, but doesn't want to bother her while she's like on a rebound.
Yeah, if this story continues and they become an item like way further down the line, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be a nice change of pace.
Anyway, the climax of the episode and of the season is the end of term karaoke party. They do persuade Ueno to sing, and some of the girls are shouting for him to do fan service, so he waves at Tabata.
Yeah.
Shinbashi, who is a good singer, saves Sayaka, who is a bad singer, from being put on the spot and having to sing. But the main thing that happens is someone else, a different girl in the class, wants to confess to Ueno, and her friend is like egging her on to do it, and they get Ueno outside the karaoke room, and the girl does confess, and her friend has a couple of weird lines where it's like she's trying to sell Ueno on her friend, like she's wingmanning real hard.
Not very effectively.
No, well, not very effectively, because Ueno is impervious, and he says, look, there's someone I like. And Tabata, who has gone to the loo and is on her way back, overhears him say he likes someone. And this upsets her, so she doesn't finish going back to the karaoke room, and she goes outside and she's moping on the steps, thinking, oh, I'm in love with him. And then he comes to find her, because it's been pointed out to him that she's gone missing. He comes to find her, he sees her moping, he gives her a hug, and then he outright confesses to her, which also had us cheering.
Yes.
It's real good. It's very sweet.
Unlike fucking Watari, though, we have an extra episode, so there's still room for her to go, oh, but he meant that, like, platonically, right?
I want basically a whole episode of Tabata doing that and finding progressively more and more absurd reasons to disbelieve him, and then he sets her straight at the end of it.
We may well get that.
Yes. I don't think this is asking very much.
That's a low bar for requests, yes. We have one more episode of that, so that'll be fun to talk about next week.
Speaking of easy bars to clear, though, in The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, episode 11, we start with Rintaro stressing about ideas for presents to get for Kaoruko's birthday, which Subaru has told him is coming up. He has this list. He's got, like, in his notebook, he's got, like, present ideas, 1, 2, 3, 4, and one is cake, and all the others are blank. And, like, sure, he's struggling to think of other things that Kaoruko would like, but also, I don't think there's anything she'd like more than cake.
Yeah.
Because this girl loves her cake, rightly.
Yeah.
So he takes a serious lesson from it, which is, I want to know more about her. Which is fair enough. He doesn't know that much about her, besides that she likes cake. He doesn't even know that she likes him, because he's dense, bless him. But initially he's like, well, I'll buy her a nice cake. She always comes to our bakery, so I'll get her something from a different bakery. And he makes the mistake of asking his mother, hey, do you know any other good bakeries nearby?
Yeah.
Which...
goofy-ass mistake. She gives him the death glare for it.
She gives him the death glare and picks up a large knife. But what actually ends up happening is he asks his dad to teach him to make a cake, because hand making a cake for her is going to hit even harder. His dad is very normal about this, and totally not a draconian monster of an instructor. And Rintaro makes a bunch of cakes with his dad and is, like, training hard and, like, running on very low sleep and falling asleep in class and stuff. But also in his notebook where he's taking notes about how to make cake, he is drawing, like, flowers and bunnies and stuff all over his notes because he's that in love. Mm-hmm. It's like an absolute pastiche of Boy in Love.
Yeah.
It's so good. We flip over to the girls at school, and Kaoruko's really popular because, of course, she is. Everybody wants to celebrate her birthday, and so Subaru has to do some scheming to make sure that Kaoruko is free on her actual birthday for Rintaro. And this happens, and then Rintaro is reminded by Subaru to message Kaoruko and say, hey, are you busy on date? Without saying, I know it's your birthday. And Kaoruko, bless her, basically immediately rumbles that Subaru is scheming.
Yeah, and she calls Subaru and immediately just, like, makes a noise at her and goes,
makes several noises.
and she goes, Rintaro got in touch with you, huh?
Yes.
It's very so good.
Anyway, the bakery instruction continues, and it's actually some really nice father-son bonding. Mm-hmm. And then Rintaro does bake a cake. It's very extra. It's covered in all sorts of fancy decorations. And Rintaro, so he's got this arrangement to meet with Kaoruko. He heads out to get there early so that he can have some time to settle his nerves. But Kaoruko has had the same idea and is waiting for him when he gets there, so he does not get to settle his nerves.
Yep.
And Kaoruko shows him the park that she hangs out at with Subaru, that has been, like, their place from childhood. And she takes the cake out of the box in front of him to see it and is absolutely overjoyed. Her face when she sees the cake is just a thing of beauty. Mm-hmm. And she asks if she can call him that evening. Cut to Rintaro that evening, stressed as balls, waiting for this phone call. He's just, like, sat on the couch with a death stare, holding his phone in one hand. And the phone buzzes, and he's off like a shot to take this call. And his mother says, I swear he couldn't be more obvious.
And then his dad's just like, huh? Because the denseness runs in the family.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It always does.
Anyway, Todoke says the cake tasted great and she shared it with her family and they all liked it, and also her little brother ate like half of it. So Rintaro promises to make her another cake and goes and asks his parents if he can help out in the kitchen at the bakery over the break, which is it's such a nice way to pay all this off. You know, it's just really, really good. And next episode, they're going on the beach trip that they planned a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah.
Which is...
We got 2 more episodes, so that's going to be fun to see where this season ends.
It's another one we're going to have to read some manga of.
Yeah, I mean, that is also in the plans. Speaking of things I'm going to read a lot of manga of once it's done.
Cultural exchange. We're the Game Center Girl, episode 11. So, Renchi's family have a summer holiday where they go to the countryside to visit his grandma, and somehow Lily, Karen, and the class president have all been invited along to go with.
Yep.
Which is just an excuse to do, like, all the, like, classic countryside anime things. They go to an old-fashioned candy shop, they play the spinning tops game that is apparently the like cultural antecedent of Beyblades, which you know, I didn't know there was a thing, but there's a thing.
Beigoma is the thing.
Yes. There's a brief Captain Scarlet reference. Do you know what Captain Scarlet is? Are you familiar with Captain Scarlet?
I don't believe I am.
Right, I will explain this later because a thing that I will explain later.
Go for it.
But Lily's mom and dad are at home, and Lily's mom lets slip that Renji is on this trip that Lily has gone on. Her dad gets mad and insists that they are going to go and bring Lily back, and Lily's mom uses this as an excuse because she's doing the navigating on the drive. Lily's mom navigates them to the beach instead so they can have a little bit of a date together, which is really sweet. And then we encounter another... I don't know, I'm not sure what your cultural disconnect was here.
Having a specific term for, and apparently structure for like a secret fort type thing.
Right, yeah. So in England we would say building a den.
Yeah.
Kids build dens by like gathering bits of stray wood and assembling a little hideout somewhere nearby. I did this a bunch as a kid. Recently I took a trip back to the town where I grew up, and I was able to locate the site of the best den that we ever had, the longest lived one. Nothing remains of what we built there, which was very flimsy, but I was able to identify the tree that I used to like hang out on. And, you know, Lily says, I want to build a den, and nobody knows what she's talking about. She explains awkwardly, and they go, it's like what we call in Japanese a secret base, himitsukichi. And they do. They build a little, like, tent out of sticks with a couple of seats inside, and that's very sweet. They're walking home from that so Lily's been very frightened to hear that there are bears in the hills, and they hear a noise coming from a bush by the road, and Lily's terrified because she thinks it's a bear, and it's not a bear, it's her dad, who has somehow found his way there after all.
Yep.
Also the mom. But the episode ends with us learning that the next episode is going to be a festival episode, where of course there is a local tradition where if you're holding hands with someone when the last firework of the firework display goes off, then you will get married and have good fortune. Bring good fortune to all.
Yeah. Also, the episode is going to be titled My Feelings Haven't Changed.
I'm sure it's going to be very sweet.
Yep. How are you going to transition that to the next one?
In a complete opposite version of like Japanese country traditions. I think is the best I can do there.
Yeah.
In The Summer Hikaru Died, episode 11, I don't want to, like, we're moving into territory with this show where spoilers are an issue, and I don't want to give too many spoilers. I do want to say that we learned that Yoshiki was a monster fucker from childhood. Like, the opening scene is him playing with, like, a Godzilla and an Ultraman doll, and talking to his dad about how he thinks that monsters are cool, and couldn't the monsters team up with the heroes instead of being defeated by them? Which, you know, this boy was destined to be gay. But we do learn what the original Indo-Sin was, the original sin of Hikaru's family, and the identity of the Hichi, which is this talisman
It shrunk ahead
that they're supposed to carry to the mountain. It is horrifying, like really powerfully horrifying. They learn that, and there's various bits of coping that happen, and in school, I think the next day maybe, the not Hikaru creature loses control and like really seriously attacks Yoshiki. doesn't actually seem to hurt him, ultimately, because he regains control and pulls back. And while he is being attacked, Yoshiki's like, wait, this doesn't feel bad at all, when not Hikaru is, like, covering him in goop.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards, etc. Also, Yoshiki found an illustration in an old, like, an art book, basically, that looked exactly like Hikaru goop and was labelled A Vision of Gehenna.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun, and I'm sure it will have no negative implications.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of no negative implications, holy shit, Apocalypse Bringr Mynoghra really just, like, hit the fucking turbo on... Remember how this is supposed to be an edgy show?
Yeah. So, at the end of last episode, Isla, the bug mom, was fighting this mid-boss from the JRPG world, and he summoned Takato's 2 young attendants to his death scene. And the game logic that it plays out here is it traps them in a scripted event where he's going to blow up and kill them all. But Isla protects them at basically the cost of her life, and then rips out her own heart to give it to the twins so that they can eat it to gain her power, so the twins have to eat their mom for the second time in their young lives.
Yup.
Which is horrifying.
Yup.
These poor kids.
These
They go on
girls
the fucking,
have been through so much.
They take Isla's power and they go on the fucking warpath.
Yup.
And each confront one of the 2 remaining mid-boss type enemies, one of whom is an inevitable, like, hot lady who's barely wearing any clothes, and she gets her skin rotted off. They don't linger on that, but the little bit we see of it is grim. And then the other twin confronts, like, the engineer villain, the one who builds robots and mechs and stuff, and something that she does deactivates all his robots, and then she starts telekinetically eating them.
Yeah, so something about her power is... Because of the specific mental breakdown she's having, she believes that if you forget everything, only love will remain. So everyone forgot how to do anything, including all the robots.
Right, gotcha.
And then she starts eating them. With telekinesis, they're just giant chunks taken out of them. And,
yeah, I want that power.
You would.
Give me the chompy chomp.
Yeah, that was, also heavily foreshadowed in the ending the entire time. And, whoa, we got something to deal with next time. Anyway.
Did I not put my notes on Utagoe and Mille-Feuille in here?
Evidently not.
Whoops! It's really, really good. It's really good about music. It ends in a really good place. There's a big climactic moment. This is the thing I want to really flag up. There's a big climactic moment where the super talented senior from the school group is joining the professional group, Parabola. And everybody's very sad about this, particularly Irie, the club president, who doesn't want anything to change. Everyone's very sad about this. None of them are processing it well. The first years do a really good job of, like, finding ways to build towards a reconciliation, but her attitude is kind of, it will all work out in the end. This is the first time I've actually fought with Irie, but we'll tough it out and we'll get through this. And Kumai, the girl who's been singing bass in their group, who is now feeling overshadowed because she's discovered that actually Rei is a bass and has just not been singing bass. And that casts all of her support for Kumai in a different light.
Mm-hmm.
Kumai stands up to her and says, no, you have to go and talk to Irie. Stop trying to be an adult. Stop trying to be grown up about this and like reserved in your emotions and so on. We are still kids. You need to have it out with her. And they do. And then it ends with the group performing at a like elementary school or even preschooler groups like Christmas festival, which is really, really cute. And they invite the professional group to see them sing. And then the professionals get dragged into performing for the kids as well at the end. And the school club's performance is so good that it makes Mizuki, the evil bitch leader of the professional group, who's basically abducted Rei, cry because she's seeing the first steps in the realization of her dream to make a cappella really popular. She's definitely okay. Mizuki, she's got no issues at all and is not a problem. But that one has ended at 10 episodes, apparently. Okay, let's do some brief mentions. Detectives these days are crazy. I feel kind of bad putting this in brief mentions because it is the final episode, but also it's basically one bit, this episode, which is how do we make enough money to keep the detective agency in business? They try various schemes. The one that works inadvertently, they try to turn Mashiro into an idol. Various things go wrong with this process. Nezu tries to get Mashiro to write song lyrics. She writes, like, a horrifying, spooky song. They try to turn the cat into a cute mascot. The cat is too uninterested in everything to perform. They try to release a Mashiro Oppai mousepad. She doesn't have a camera that she can use to take a photo of herself for it. So she photocopies herself, and then it gets printed upside down, and it looks horrifying. And so, inadvertently, Mashiro becomes a horror idol. They go off to do this other complicated job that apparently has a massive money reward for it. They do the job, but it turns out that the criminal that they are trying to catch wasn't actually doing anything criminal this time.
Yep.
So they can't make the arrest. And while that happens, their horror idol stuff goes viral and serves as a sufficient advert for the agency that they get loads of work, and that solves the problem. Because there is no amount of extra that this show will not be.
Yeah, I kind of figured that after the first 3 or 4 episodes, and then they had the goblin sperm line. I was just like, okay, whatever. I'm not, like, this is a lot, but I'm not surprised by this show. I'm just shocked by the line.
Thank you for being the one to bring back the goblin sperm.
Someone had to. We're leaving all the sperm in this season. Nothing is happening next season.
I really don't think that's true. I mean, we will find out tomorrow, as you're listening to this, whether that's true. But anyway.
I think we'll be fine. Anyway.
Moving on. Turkey Time to Strike, episode 11. They have returned to the past to save the friends that they made in the past from being killed by a local noble, which they realise that not only can they probably not kill him and all his guards, but they don't want to because they are going to have to come back to their own time and live with themselves afterwards. So they need a non-lethal solution, and they hit on the fact that in feudal Japan, lords sometimes settled their political disputes with sport. So they are going to challenge him to a bowling match. But in order to provoke him to take their challenge, they basically stand in front of him insulting him for like 5 minutes. They call a feudal lord cringe.
He deserves it.
He does. They successfully get it. Well, they don't get him to have a bowling match against them. What he says is, okay, we'll set up the bowling, and if every single one of you can roll a strike on the first ball, then I will do what you want and leave your friends alone. Which is a tall ask. And the 3 girls who aren't the main characters bowl first, and they all, in various ways, pay off the growth that came from their individual episodes. That puts them as a team in the position of a turkey, which is 3 strikes in a row. And so Rina says, you have this thing where you can't bowl a strike once you've bowled a turkey because trauma. I'll bowl the next one because I'll get a strike, and then we'll be on what is apparently called a ham bone. Apparently after turkey, it's ham bone. And then you'll be fine to do the last one. And then the shaman who has been advising the feudal lord and encouraged him to, like, order the death of one twin and marry the other and what have you, changes the rules of the game and seizes all the bowling club girls and also all the samurai sisters that they're trying to save and has them tied to stakes which are stood overlooking the end of the bowling alley. So for these last 2 balls, these girls are going to have to throw towards all the people that they care about who have been readied for execution.
See, where I thought this was going is I thought they would be lined up like bowling pins.
I thought that for a second as well.
Why would this show exist and make me think such a dumb thing?
It was a reasonable inference based on the show so far, is the thing.
That's why I'm mad. Like, why would you make me think something this dumb? This is a bit that would happen in fucking, like, detectives these days are crazy. Why is it a whole show?
It's good. I like it. The actual character payoffs were really good. Even the one who, like, summoned the power of the wind. Like, Nanasei's bit is that all her life she's felt like air. She's felt insubstantial and invisible.
Yeah.
And
okay, sure.
Like, part of her growth was it being pointed out that, wind is air with power. So she summons the power of the wind to make her really slow throw powerful enough to get all the pins down.
It's so dumb.
I love this show so much.
Yes, I understand. But also, this is some dumb, very dumb bullshit, and I'm glad I'm not watching it. Because I would be yelling.
I have been.
I know.
Okay, Secrets of the Silent Witch, episode 11. So, the opponent Monica beat at chess proposes marriage to her because he wants opportunities to play chess with her again. This is absurd. It flusters Monica. She goes out into the hall alone again and is attacked with magic, which is Bernie attacking her in order to expose her and prove that she is the Silent Witch, and so that he can basically have another go at her for being better than him.
Mm-hmm.
There's a confrontation between him and Monica's friend who does her hair, whose name I can never remember.
Let me find it for you. I will find it, I believe. It's Lana.
That's the one. Lana fully sees through him and sees that he is, like... I mean, there's something really pathetic about this character, about his obsession with becoming one of the Seven Sages, because he's clearly not that special a mage.
Mm-hmm. In a different series, he would have been the protagonist trying his best to, get into the Seven Sages.
Yes.
But this is not that series, and he is not that good of a person.
In another series, he'd be that. In yet a third other series, he'd be the main rival for the actually nice character who's trying to be a seventh sage.
Mm-hmm. We just kind of skipped ahead to,
He's an asshole.
They're already a Seven Sage part of that one.
Anyway... He then stumbles across a plot to attack the prince by replacing one of the staff on one of the chess teams. And he discovers this plot and exposes the fact that some of the prince's enemies are dragon mage shifters.
Yep, apparently.
Like, the guy that he's fighting starts turning into a dragonkin looking dude.
Yeah.
And Monica comes in and saves him. And so he covers for her and doesn't give her secret away so that she can continue going to school, because she's realised that she enjoys it now that she has actual friends rather than Bernie, because Bernie sucks.
Mm-hmm.
In Watari-kun's Blank is About to Collapse, episode 12, the reason this is in brief mentions is because while stuff does happen this episode, this is not the final episode, and indeed we don't know how many episodes this show is going to be, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
Because this show is terrifying.
It genuinely, there is no listed episode count or, finish airing date at all, which is really kind of weird. Usually, this far into the season, they're like, oh yeah, this is going to end after 13 episodes. We haven't heard shit. None of the websites we use have updated that yet.
What if it just keeps going and we're sitting through this for another season?
It very well could.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to posit here, though, that, if this stuff has sounded interesting to you, I would definitely recommend the manga over this. Because, this is a good story. It is being adapted kind of really poorly. There are a lot of little things, and also the music's just kind of jank.
The music's amazing.
The music is a nightmare.
It's so goofy.
It's definitely one of those things where, I read this and I was like, okay, if they adapt this well, this will be really good. But I didn't realize what their priorities were going to be when they started adapting it. And I think at this point, I can safely say, read the source material. It's just one of those things that some adaptations work well, and some of them don't. And I think this is skewing towards not working all that well overall.
Okay, that's fascinating, because this is one of my favourite shows from this season.
I know. There are a lot of...
If the manga is that much better, then I've got to read the manga.
I mean, it's done at, completely
cool
and collated into volumes and everything. But, it is really good, but it is really good in spite of the adaptation, I think.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there are a lot of little character details that are getting glossed over, and moments that are getting truncated because they need to fit this into anime format, and the art is also kind of taking a hit. I've posted a couple frames or a couple panels from the manga where it's just they are really avoiding going as full mental health problems as the source manga is, which, about with this show in particular, it kind of needs.
Yeah. Anyway, in terms of stuff that happens this episode, it's mostly about Watari really trying to find a way to live his life and care for the people that he cares about while other people create problems for him. So Yukari's mom is hanging around and trying to force him to break up with Yukari. And we end on Makina scheming to get Watari into her dorm room, which I'm so worried about what's going to happen there, even though thus far Watari has been very, very good at keeping Makina at bay.
Mm-hmm.
He does have condoms in his bag as he's going to this rendezvous.
We think. It's not been confirmed yet, but he's definitely like, he took the bag of condoms, or the box of condoms from Yukari's house, and we haven't seen whether he removed them from his bag or not, so we are presuming they're still in there, but...
Yes, and there was a specific thing of Yukari's mom saying, I will let you keep those.
Yep.
Which makes me think that it's a Chekhov's gun situation.
Yeah, there's also the one that he bought on his own.
Yes, we don't know what's happened to that one.
Yep.
Presumably that's been taken out of a pocket because he'll have had to have laundered his clothes at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway, in the final episode of With You in the Rain, we got more With You in the Rain type stuff. The Tanuki and Fuji each ask the other why they like the rain, and Fuji really struggles to explain it poetically and so on, and the Tanuki just like goes out in the rain and licks raindrops off its snout and then sits in a puddle, which, you know, is some advanced philosophy, really. And then we get a flashback to what Fuji was doing the day that she found the Tanuki, which turns out to be that she got a drastic haircut with no warning and shocked her parents, which is fun.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about some older shows. Tara and I finally watched the last 3 episodes of Heavenly Delusion after not doing so for a few weeks for various schedule disruption reasons, and also because this comes with a fairly heavy content warning. There is a rape scene in this, which is... Yeah, when you include rape in a story, you have to handle it with gravitas. I think the show does. And I think it tackles it for a very good reason, which is that Kiriko has this really complicated identity situation where he is originally Kiriko's brother who's been transplanted into Kiriko's body after they were both partly eaten by a monster. And so Kiriko still thinks of himself as a boy despite being in a woman's body, but also bits of Kiriko, the sister, have crept through here and there. And the reason for the rape scene is that they catch up to Robin, this guy that they knew before they had the operation and who they've been looking for the whole time. And he can see that the body language is the brothers, but that the body is the sisters. And he sees glimpses of them both, and it turns out that he and the sister were in a relationship. And some of the sister's affection for... And I don't think it was a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Like, at very least, there's a problematic age gap there. And so some of the sister's affection remains in the body that the brother feels. And the scene is horrible because it is this scene of Robin basically trying to fuck Kiriko's identity back into the form that he wants it to be in. And the payoff for that is that afterwards, after Maru has burst in and saved her and beaten the shit out of Robin, which is what you should do with rapists, and basically left him for dead, Maru is talking to Kiriko, talking about the point early in the season where he confessed to her, and she revealed this backstory about the brother and so on. And Maru says, look, I'm into girls. I think if I'd met you, the brother, before the operation, we'd have been good friends, but I don't think I'd have been into you. But I also don't think I'd have been into your sister if I met her before the operation. You are the person, male or female, that I am in love with. Which, like, it's such a powerful payoff for so much of the story here. And it's still a beautiful anime. The production values are so high and so good. And that speech is so well written that if you can get through all the other horrors, because the rape scene is far from the only horror in this show, it's so worth it. Meanwhile, in the other plot line, which is about this sealed school where somebody is doing weird cult human engineering stuff, everything goes to shit, the school gets attacked, and some of the kids escape. And a thing that I had completely forgotten, because it's only very briefly mentioned, is that the headmistress and leader of this cult is planning exactly the same evil as the villain from my favourite series of fantasy novels. For reasons I won't go into, because the thing about Heavenly Delusion is that it's still coming out as a manga pretty slowly, but there is a bunch of it still out there, which I swear to God, I'm going to get round to reading.
Mm-hmm.
That makes 3 shows so far this episode that I've said I swear to God I'm going to read the manga, maybe 4.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, in Scrap Princess episode 4 to 5, as you put it, what is tone, can we eat it? Because one of these episodes started with Raquel doing like a Sorcerer's Apprentice bit where she magically animated all the kitchenware and turned it into the Soupy-kun mascot character from the previous episode. And it's goofy and things go chaotic. But then the church orders everyone who's come into contact with Pacifica in this town to be murdered by a horrifying blob monster. So they're able to slow the blob monster down, and then the guy who's controlling the blob monster shows up and mind controls everyone to kill Pacifica, including Raquel and Shannon, her brother and sister, and we get the reveal that Pacifica has the power to defy the magic of the god, which is why they're trying to wipe her out.
Mm-hmm.
So it does all make sense, but also it's super dark when it gets dark. Then in the next episode, they are attacked by a bard who uses music to summon bugs.
Big air quotes on bugs.
They're like robot bugs.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, a bard who can control bugs with his music is my next D&D character. It's so me.
I feel like if I really wanted to snipe you, I could point out my dead name meant bard, and...
True. But like music and bugs are 2 of my great passions, so...
Yep, and somehow you fell for my dumbass.
There are very important similarities across a wide range of fields between bugs and slime. It's fine. Anyway, in order to deal with the bug bard, they have to follow him into a mysterious cave called the Fortress, which is a relic of the Genesis Wars and is clearly like a crashed spaceship or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bard lets slip to Leo and Doyle, the 2 knights, that Pacifica is the Scrap Princess.
Yep.
So they will have to deal with that going forward.
Yep, and we'll have to deal with that next time because it really just ended there.
Yes.
Specifically, the 2 knights that got called out by this were Doyle, who was the person who dropped Pacifica into the valley where she was supposed to die as a baby, and Leo, who has a giant stupid crush on Pacifica.
Yeah.
So that's extra fun.
Leo, who is also currently still trying to be a faithful knight of the kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
and was initially like looking to find the Scrap Princess to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, in The Wise Man's Grandchild, the first of these episodes that we watched opens on like it opens on a shot of a jet of water that turns out to be the jet of water from a bidet that Maria is enjoying. I truly don't understand why that was in there.
I don't know either. Fucking Shin making technology bullshit.
I don't think that one was even made by Shin, was it? Because it was in the grandfather's place. Did they specifically say that Shin made it?
Shin has been making a bunch of stuff for their family.
Fair.
The entire time he's been alive.
Okay, anyway, Shin offers to buy Sicilian some jewelry, which she is bowled over by because she's in love with him, except that he is buying some jewelry to enchant with protective spells to protect her because her association with him is putting her in danger. We get the grandfather explaining to Shin's friends what the secret of his magic is, which is that he has like basic science education from our world and he's deploying some stuff from that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them asks him to explain what a flame is. And I was actually curious, do you think you could do that?
Well, the thing is, like, when people at the specific scientific understanding that in the world that they're talking about think of, oh, I want to do fire magic, it's just like, okay, I'm making mana do fire. I don't think about why that fire exists. Whereas, like, Shin would go, okay, so you need oxygen, you need fuel, and you need, like, a starter. Like, you need something to spark it.
Yeah.
And you need heat, oxygen, and fuel. That's why every time he's cast something with fire, it's been a blue flame, because he condenses hydrogen out of the air,
Yes.
specifically, and then goes, okay, and then balance that with the oxygen, so it's really potent. And he's basically doing, fucking Roy Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist. He's just doing that alchemical stuff as part of his casting.
Yeah.
And I think the whole indication is, like, if Shin is working on a spell, he's trying to understand, like, how to make the smallest causes to the effects he wants.
Yes.
Instead of trying to just generate effects.
Yeah.
Which is good.
So the actual way it's explained is that in this world, they create magic by kind of picturing or visualizing the effect they want to create. But because Shin can, he's not thinking, I want to create fire. He's thinking, I want to create an explosive combustion reaction.
And thinking about all the steps to create that.
Yeah. So he can focus his magic more efficiently on smaller things with bigger effects. Anyway, then a war breaks out, and Strom, the villain, completely wrecks the Blissphere Empire and drives off Earlside, which is the country that Shin's in. The students get recruited to fight in the war.
Not yet.
Well, no, they are sent to training in case they need to be.
Yeah.
And they are required to train with the night cadets from the night school, who are jocks and horrible to them. And so the mages decide, well, okay, these night cadets are so arrogant, we'll let them get in trouble. We'll tell them, look, okay, you don't think you need us? Go and do this without us, and we'll rescue you when you fuck up, which they do. When they do get into trouble and one of them gets injured, Sicilian heals him, and all the boys from the night squad they're paired with immediately fall for her, which makes Shin extremely mad in very good ways, and Org tries to get Shin to declare Sicilian his woman.
It's also...
because Org is a menace.
Yeah, like, the other girls, like Maria, is also mad, and also the girl from the Night Squad is also just like, they have literally never fucking talked to me like this. What the fuck?
Power of boobs. Anyway, Shin saves them by creating a massive hydrogen explosion that kills 100 demons in one go. And after that, the girl from the Night Cadet squad comes up to Sicilian to apologize to her for being rude. Well, comes up to Shin and Sicilian to apologize to them for being rude. And what she says to Sicilian is, I'm really sorry for speaking to your boyfriend that way. Which has the best effect on these two who are not yet dating, but everybody knows they will.
Yeah, more devastation than the hydrogen explosions, truly. Speaking of some devastating episodes...
in Kimi ni Todoke, episodes 22 to 23, it's Christmas!
Yeah!
And they're making various plans to celebrate things on Christmas. Yano has this great line where she's like, because she just broke up with her boyfriend, and she's like, this is probably the only time I'm going to be single at Christmas. Because, to be fair, Yano can get it.
Yep.
And Chizu somewhat forlornly responds, hey, you never know, I might not be single next Christmas. Which might happen because Ryu's right there, but that's going to take some journey to get to. But a big chunk of that episode is actually about... So, Sawako normally celebrates Christmas with her family, and she can't work up the courage to tell her family that she wants to go and celebrate with her friends instead. And I am so mad about her dad in this episode. Like, he's not an evil parent the way, like, Yukari's mom in Watari-kun is, or whatever. But he's oblivious, and it's clear that he's very used to the idea that Sawako will never communicate, so he ignores any attempt she makes to communicate. She's knitted a hat for Kazuhaya and a belly warmer for her dad. And her dad finds the hat and thinks it's for him because he's been complaining about how cold it is. And he basically steals Kazuhaya's present, so Sawako has to give the present she made for her dad to Kazuhaya, which sucks. But, on the other hand, her family give her a phone as a Christmas gift so she can coordinate with her friends. This means that she does actually get to go and meet with Kazuhaya on Christmas Eve. But then it's Sawako's birthday coming up, because Sawako's birthday is New Year's Day. Sawako... No, it's Chizu. Chizu and Ryu normally go to the shrine at midnight on New Year's Eve to welcome the new year. Chizu and Yano are scheming. They get Sawako to agree to come with them, and then they get her to be the one to invite Kazuhaya, and she works up the courage to do so, bless her, and he's thrilled to be invited, because of course he is. And then on the evening, Chizu and Yano show up early to pick up Sawako at her place and kind of drag her back into her bedroom, and they do a full like face of makeup and her hair and add a hairpin and so on and make her look really cute. And they're walking to this rendezvous point, and Kazuhaya is there. No, sorry, No, they walk to the rendezvous point, and then they say, you wait here, and they walk off, and they leave her to be met by Kazuhaya so that she and Kazuhaya can spend New Year's Eve together without them. And I'm so very excited for what's about to happen, however terrible it is. I want to talk briefly about PatLabor the TV again, because Tara and I also watched the final 3 episodes of this one, episodes 44 to 46. So the last 2 episodes are a serious plot about like Noah's faith in herself and the effects of all these different industrial efforts to de-skill piloting. Not going to get into that because I want to talk about episode 44, which is the one where the mechanic for the group, Shige, is sent to America to advise the American equivalent of the PatLabor unit, which is called CLAT. So he arrives in America. He gets out the airport. He gets in a taxi. He says, take me to this place, please. And the taxi driver says, I don't know where that is. They get into a row. The taxi driver throws him out of the cab and then pulls out a Tommy gun and starts shooting at him. So he runs off, and the taxi driver gives chase in the taxi, still spraying bullets after him. And then the pre-established American PatLabor pilot, who Shige has been sent to meet, blows up the taxi with a bazooka just on the streets of New York. They get to the HQ, which is this secret subterranean base, which is, among other things, is very clearly an ancestor of like Nerve HQ in Evangelion, where it turns out that all of the American unit's staff are just dead lookalikes for the Japanese unit, except they're all blonde.
That's a really good joke. But
It's very good. Randomly, the Spanish Inquisition, like the trio from the Monty Python sketch.
I mean, nobody expects them.
Just run across the screen a couple of... Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, they're just there. But the real, like, brain burster moment... I mentioned Captain Scarlet earlier in Game Center Girl. We watched that on Sunday. PatLabor was Friday. The armored vehicles that are used by the American PatLabor unit are just straight up vehicles from the Captain Scarlet TV show, which is a kids' TV show from the Thunderbirds people. It's Super Mario Nation. And this is karmic justice for the horse thing. Not only did I recognize immediately the vehicle, I also realized that I remembered its exact name. I mean, I watched Captain Scarlet as a kid. I was terrified of it because it has really spoopy villains for a kid's show, and actually has some quite upsetting episodes. It's quite a dark show. But I also had the toys from it, one of which was this exact vehicle. So Tara gets to clown me for having recognized that in revenge for me having clowned her for recognizing the horse. And then fucking Captain Scarlet showed up again with the other vehicle from the show that I had a toy of in Game Center Girl. Just incredible coincidence.
Oh, beautiful.
And then, finally, we got to the end of Season 1 of Ascendance of Bookworm, episodes 13 and 14, and we watched the OVA as well. Most of this is about this power struggle between Mine's family and the church. We learn a whole, historical context for why it's so important that once they found out that Mine has mana, they want to recruit her. It's to do with, noble-level politics, which I'm sure will be relevant later. At that point, they still think that Mine is rich, because she looks rich and she's got a lot of money. But then she's invited to the temple with her parents to discuss, final arrangements for her joining the church. And the high priest takes one look at them and goes, "Oh, you're poor. Instead of negotiating with you, I'm just going to tell you what to do." And they're not happy about that. And there's this very complicated standoff and nasty business. And Mine actually uses magic for the first time to asphyxiate the high priest almost to death.
Mm-hmm. Specifically, she nearly crushes his heart because one of the symptoms of the devouring is when the man is going out of control because of anger, it will crush things that stand in their way.
Yes.
Which includes this dude's heart, apparently.
Yeah. And, nobody wants... none of Mine's, family and friends want her to join the church because it is regarded as the worst option. It's for orphans, basically. Or orphans and the kids of nobles. And Mine wants to be in the church, but treated the way that the kids of the nobles are, because she's too frail for what they put the orphans through. And what happens is that the head priest of the local temple takes over the negotiation after the high priest has been incapacitated and explains to Mine that even the nobles in the church have been abandoned by their parents.
Yeah.
Like, they have a cushier life, but they don't really have a good relationship with their family, so there's this tension around Mine because she's from a loving family. That's a kind of person who doesn't get to join the church very often. But she joins the church. She's now in the church, and she's going to be treated well and get to read books and stuff. And then we get the OVA, which is in 2 parts. In the first part, the head priest sends a couple of his, aides to find out about Mine's backstory, and they go to the poor quarter where everything smells too bad for them and everything disgusts them, and they hate the clothes that they have to wear as a disguise. And the one of them who is vaguely competent is, going around the poor quarter, talking to various people who do know Mine. And his story, his cover story is, oh, I ran into her this one time and she was very kind to me and I want to repay the kindness. And when he speaks to Mine's young friends, they don't believe the story about her helping a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it is they don't believe that she'd be alone long enough to do what he attributes to her, but also they just don't believe she'd be helpful that way, which is quite funny. In the second part of the OVA, Benno, the merchant who trained Mine's sister, is that right?
And Otto's wife.
Yes, also Otto's wife, who wants to buy the hair ornament license.
She wants to see the outfit that Mine wore to her baptism.
So Mine shows them, and then the sister says, well, I'd love to make these and sell them in our shop. And Mine says, pay me, basically.
Yeah.
And so she goes into negotiation with Benno for a price, and she uses all his training and all his encouragement of her to always get the best price to get the best price out of him, which is 17 million currency.
Yep, and she's hesitant to reveal that fact to Tuli and her mom, and it's just like, yeah, your work is valuable to people. That's how capitalism is supposed to work.
Yes. Okay. Hopefully this episode comes out on time on Friday. If you are listening to it on time on Friday, then tomorrow on Saturday, the 27th of September, we will be doing our live stream where we kind of wrap up this season and also choose our shows for the next season, even though not all our shows for this season are finished. We hope to see you there, twitch.tv/xxxxx, link in the description if I remember to put it there. So we're watching that writer's project of Slimebug Productions. Intro and outro music is by me, graphics are by Val. You can find us on Blue Sky at slimebug.bsky.social, YouTube at youtube.com/slimebugproductions, Patreon at patreon.com/slimebugproductions. Download all episodes from Libsyn at slimebug.pro and join our Discord via the link in the description. Thanks for listening, and until next time, may anime neither betray nor disappoint you.